Yo, bro. What's the time?
It's 1:02.
You said 1:02?
Yes.
Thunderbolts brings together all your favorite secondary characters from across the MCU. The sister of Black Widow, the replacement of Captain America, the #1 hater of Ant-Man, the cold-hearted Red Room assassin. Never mind. And of course, Bucky Barnes, who has now become the most morally questionable version of himself yet. A politician.
What is the truth in life? Deny everything, admit nothing. I'm touching you, I'm touching those fake plastic tits. I mean, I feel weird.
And overall, Thunderbolts is a big step up from the lows that the MCU has sunk into. It's a grounded story where obstacles come from things close to home more so than space and goofy quantum realms. It portrays characters as real people more so than caricatures, diving into their deepest regrets and traumas. It even has a very emotionally adult theme about loneliness and the void it creates. And then there's also the Void, who's pretty cool as well.
Avengers!
Unfortunately, that didn't help too much. The movie still became another financial low in the universe, seen only by a chosen few. The chosen few who saw it seemed to praise it, but most general audiences who used to show up in the past now didn't bother at all. It's another F in the Marvel chat. And as always, the easy response is to simply shrug that failure off like, well, most people are dumb and Thunderbolts deserved better. But at the same time, that's not really the full truth of it. Because being totally honest, the hype for this movie is a bit overblown.
Are you serious right now, bro?
It is a step up, yes, but it does not entertain the masses the way this franchise used to. And that's because Thunderbolts is the kind of film that a big budget blockbuster meant to appeal to general audiences cannot be. It's dull, drab, colorless, the opposite of what these movies used to be. The pacing is stagnant as hell because most of the movie is contained to one location and situation. The story is very goalless and aimless and thus most of the time seems to be getting nowhere. And even though the characters are realistically fleshed out, they're not really stand out enough to carry a blockbuster. And when you put all that together, you get a big budget movie that very expectedly did not succeed beyond the minimum. So today, let's dive into that, into Thunderbolts' failure to learn how to avoid the same fate. I know this might be a bit more controversial negative Marvel video in a while, so if I do get you on board, please let me know. The first key problem here is that, despite being a big budget blockbuster, this movie feels stuck in place like a tiny indie movie, which is because most of the movie is contained to one location and situation. At the 13-minute mark, Yelena is sent to a desert bunker by her employer on a mission to kill a rivaling thief, a mission that soon turns out to be a trap.
You're not even my target.
You're mine.
As the employer is actually destroying all evidence of shadow projects, including Yelena and other operatives like her. And now, for the next 40 minutes, this bunker is home. We're in the burner room to fight a bit, and then we realize it's a trap, and we find this guy there called Bob, and then we get out into the hallway, and then we climb an elevator shaft, and then we need to get past the employer's army outside. It's not until the 50-minute mark where the heroes finally get away from the bunker and its death trap situation into the desert.
Yo, bro. What's the time?
It's 1:02.
You said 1:02?
Yes.
And why is this an issue? Well, because it breaks the pacing. I mean, look at this. Over 30% of the 2-hour runtime is dedicated to one place and one thing. And for a casual audience expecting a wild blockbuster ride, that's the epitome of slow. All the bunker rooms and hallways look identically bland.
They're the same picture.
And even when we cut elsewhere, we're still hanging out in courtrooms and galas and whatever. Both narratively and visually, this section feels stagnant as hell and thus boring as hell. On top of which, getting stuck in one section also limits what the other sections have time to do. See, the movie's plot as a whole is very bare bones. The heroes go into the bunker and find Bob, and then they escape the bunker and go to the Avengers headquarters to save Bob. The end.
So yeah, that's about it. See ya.
What the hell was that? How can the entire external plot of a superhero blockbuster be summed up in 20 words? Well, because over 30% of it is contained to this one death trap bunker situation. And to be clear, containment itself is not the issue. There are many contained movies that work just fine even for a bigger audience. The real issue here is expectation. When audiences know they're going into a contained movie taking place in one location and situation, they can be okay with it. But when they come into an expensive blockbuster, they probably won't be. Most likely, they're just gonna be confused.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
It's like how Glass followed up an open-world movie by suddenly getting locked inside one building. It's an uphill battle from the start because what's going on? Why are we still here? Can we please get out now? Hello?
Won't stop hurting. It's like they're all still there.
I mean, Thunderbolts is a 200 million superhero movie where 5 minutes of screen time is spent getting up an elevator shaft. How? Like, where did all the money go? The point is that if your movie is not a contained one, but more so a big one that out of nowhere becomes contained for a third of its runtime, it's tough to make that work. Because for a lot of audiences, it will be tough to get through that out of nowhere contained third. That being said, partial containment in big movies is not impossible. Iron Man did it, Pirates 2 did it. I mean, Jack and his crew spent over 20 minutes on one island. But the difference there is that there's always a sense of motion within that contained section. Will finally finds Jack, the crew escapes their cannibal prison, Jack uses that as a diversion to flee from the cannibals. We're always advancing, there's always urgency, achievement, excitement. Here, the heroes spend half an hour to get out of one basement. We're in a room to fight, but not really, and then we're in another room and another, and there never seems to be a big hurry. Even when there's enemy soldiers outside, they're just waiting. It is quite boring.
We need to come up with a plan.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Oh, you're the boss now. Cute.
Well, yeah, it's our only chance of getting out of here, so.
Okay, I think I might just surrender.
Okay, fine. Every man for himself.
Why should you be in charge? You almost killed all of us.
Overall, to contain a big chunk of a movie in one stagnant place and situation is possible, but very difficult. And for Thunderbolts, it would have been way better to get in the bunker and get out just as fast. Bring the characters in, have them fight each other in a bit more believably serious manner, and then get them out of there. This really doesn't have to take 40 minutes. But that's what happened. The movie got stuck in the mud, which for many paying audiences can be very sleep-inducing. I mean, for me at least, watching this basement section was almost the equivalent of going to bed. Not quite, but that's mostly because my bed is super comfy. I always sleep on my back and the mattress is specifically designed for that. So I guess, sure, this section is less sleep-inducing than my bed.
We did it! We did it!
But again, that's because I literally did a quiz to find the best mattress for me. It's from Helix. They identify your needs based on the quiz and then help you choose the right mattress for your needs out of like 20 designs. The firmness level, coolness level, size, it's all customizable. It is the best mattress I've ever had, and I do sleep way better and feel way better in the mornings now, so definitely one of the most important adult investments I've ever made. Highly recommend it. And the great thing is that Helix ships directly to your door with free shipping all around the US. It's super easy to set up, and they even include a 100-night trial to let you test it out to be sure. Right now, Helix is sponsoring a 27% off site-wide July discount with my link below for all mattresses and mattress toppers. So if you want a mattress that gives you better sleep and a better morning than even this basement section, check them out. Another key problem here is the lack of a clear overarching goal to always progress the world, which makes the movie feel aimless and even pointless. In addition to the bunker section feeling stagnant on its own, you can also notice that there's no destination beyond it. Like, why are we escaping the bunker? To stay alive, sure. But why? What are we escaping for? To what end and purpose? I don't know. And neither seem the characters, since all they worry about is distance rather than destination.
They don't know what they're doing. They'll be 5 or 10 clicks away in no time.
And in these big movies designed to entertain big audiences, that's not enough. In Pirates, everything done in the moment is part of the larger destination, which is to find the chest of Davy Jones. Why is Jack escaping the cannibals? To go find the chest. Why is Will gambling? To be able to open the chest. Wait, why is everybody the chest? There's a sense of purpose and progression in everything we do because we know what we're doing it for, where we're going. Here, not so much. After escaping the bunker, the heroes aimlessly walk the desert until someone happens to pick them up. Then they drive around until, again, someone happens to pick them up. Which has to happen because there's nothing else for the heroes to do, no direction to go. I mean, there's more detailed explanation of their team name than what they actually need to be accomplishing.
When I was 5, I was in a PV soccer team called the West Chesapeake Valley Thunderbolts, sponsored by Shane's Tire Shop. We won 0 games.
West Chesapeake Valley Thunderbolts, sponsored by Dimitri's Elite Industrial Lighting and Electronics.
No. It's sponsored by Shane's Tire Shop.
Shane.
Yes.
What are you talking, Shane?
It was.
You
It was
didn't have
sponsored.
that kind of money.
Yes, it was.
No, Shane. Okay, what's the plan? Where am I driving?
We need to escape and we need to hide.
It isn't until over an hour in where the heroes finally get a main objective beyond just vague hiding and surviving, which is to stop the employer and save Bob. But even then, what's missing is the purpose behind that main objective. Like, yes, the employer is a shady gal doing shady things like burning evidence to not get impeached, sure. But now that she kinda doesn't have to worry about that anymore, what's the big deal? What is she doing exactly and why do we need to stop her? What's gonna happen if we don't? What will she use her new Super Bob for? I don't really know, but it is definitely something bad, so we gotta stop her.
You know, Valentina, she's got this thing out there. People are gonna get hurt. I gotta stop her.
And for contrast, imagine the same with clear purpose. Instead of a passive goal of avoiding impeachment, what if the employer had an active goal of inheriting all Avengers assets now that the Avengers and General Ross are gone? Maybe the movie opens with her killing off some Avenger affiliate to elevate her position as the next in line for the crown. Maybe that's what she's using Bob for, to make Avenger people accidentally fall out of windows until she's the one left to inherit the keys. Now, the point of stopping her would be clear. If we don't, she's gonna knock off every central person ahead of her like in the beginning to gain control of the Avengers program. But no, the beginning is just about some evidence with some scientists mainly meant to foreshadow stuff.
Project Sentry isn't...
And we need to stop the employer just cause, you know, she's the bad guy.
You know, Valentina, people are gonna get hurt. I gotta stop her.
The point is that to create an exciting sense of motion, you need both the destination and the significance of it. And often, this movie lacks one or both. At the end, Bob turns into the void and plunges the city and everyone in it into the shadow realm of traumas. And the way Yelena plans to stop him is by diving into the shadow realm to find him. The significance is there, to get out of this trauma prison and find Bob to make him stop this. But what's lacking is the destination side. Like, there's no clarity of how these trauma prisons work or how to find Bob in them. There could be 10 trauma rooms Yelena needs to get through to find him, or there could be 100 rooms. Not clear. There's no sense of momentum because we don't know how far the destination is or whether we're getting any closer to it.
What the f is going on here?
And again, imagine the same with clarity. For example, maybe establish earlier that Bob makes you relive your single most traumatic event. That's where you get stuck when shadowed out, a prison of your greatest trauma. And as before, Yelena is now trying all she can to stop her trauma where she caused the death of a little girl to get out of it. But no matter how she tries, she always fails and the trauma resets, seemingly an infinite loop. And then, it's only when she learns to come to terms with the trauma that she can break free. When she lets the event happen and accepts that she was also a little girl and there was nothing she could have done. That would be the rule there. Only by accepting her trauma, Yelena is released from her mental prison and able to find Bob at the center of it all. Way more clear than her mindlessly running around from one trauma to another until the writers arbitrarily decide that now she finds Bob.
Hey.
Just like how the writers very arbitrarily decide so many things throughout the movie, which we'll get more into next. Bottom line is that to have proper momentum, clearly establish the destination, the route there, and the significance of it. Without that, it doesn't matter how fast you run, because you'll be running in place, getting nowhere. Another key problem here is that even though these characters are fleshed out, they're not really stand out or colorful enough to carry a blockbuster movie. With Yelena, for example, there's nothing wrong. I like her actor, I like her background, I like her relationships, and I'm emotionally invested in her journey. But at the same time, she's kinda mundane.
Maya Daragaya.
Oh, she's a widow like Black Widow, and she's depressed and low energy and just kinda doing her work. I mean, she's a bit like Filmento, and as great as I am, my personality just isn't interesting or strong enough to headline a major motion picture.
I've just been wondering, you know, like, what is the point?
And that is the case for the characters here as a whole. There's Ghost, who I can't say much about because she's so hollow, pun intended. There's Bob, who's just kind of Bob.
I'm Bob.
There's Bucky, who can be cool as always, but who's now a politician for some reason and thus spends most of his screen time in galas and lobbying people over the phone.
Hello?
Hi, this is, Mel.
Mel. Hi. You called.
There's John Walker, who very much lives up to his generic name. He's basically if Matthew Kachuk dressed up as Captain America. He's so unspecial in so many ways, except for his blind dumb arrogance, which has gone him very far because it seems to know no bounds.
We are the evidence and this is the shredder.
You don't know that for sure. It could be for anything. Could be for when they come to pick me up.
A quality which, by the way, is diluted by the fact that the same blind dumbness is also a characteristic of the Red Guardian, just on a higher level. I mean, Red Guardian is by far the most colorful, standout, ironic, and memorable character in the movie, yet still nowhere near the level of earning his own movie. That's the issue, that these characters are way too similarly muted. The value of John Walker used to come from the fact that he's an evil Captain America acting against expectations. But here, he acts exactly as you'd expect, in the same way as everyone else. These are all bad guys with guns who don't have trouble killing or stealing from the dead, and who have enough of a heart within to always come back for each other. There are small differences in them, but not on a standout level. Not compared to something like Suicide Squad, where everyone's on whole different spectrums. Some characters have a heart hidden deep within, other characters have no heart at all, and another character is a giant shark wishing for a friend, which he can never have because he always eats them.
Nom nom. I know friends.
Combining these characters created sparks, but combining these characters is like mixing together many cups of mild water, which results in just more mild water. There's nothing wrong with them except that they're simply not enough. Even their deathmatch battle royale is limited to them kind of half-assing it.
Stay out of my way.
You're not even my target.
You're mine.
But you see, my job is to keep an eye on you, so no, you are not gonna go anywhere anymore.
The point is that big movies made for big audiences need characters who are big enough to captivate the audience. That's what I talked about in my Minecraft video, how it gave most characters their own things, much like Michael Bay always does.
My husband Clemente recently divorced me.
You don't have to go that dumb with it, but you should do it. There is no pirates with just Will and Liz, not without Captain Jack to contrast against them. And the easiest solution for this is, as I've always said, identify what you have and crank up the extremity. For example, I like the basis of the villain, that she's so shamelessly lacking of self-awareness that she genuinely cannot see the wrongness in her actions.
Are you sure?
Oh my god.
But what she still needed is to push further. Make her do more seriously terrible things, like killing someone significant in the beginning. Make her chase her goal at any cost, even if it means the greatest sacrifices. Make her purposefully release the void, because that's what it takes. Go all in on the faults that make her who she is. Like how the Penguin is incapable of admitting any wrongdoing even when his mom is in peril.
I wasn't even there!
She knows that.
Admit it.
Stop! I wasn't even with him. I didn't do shit.
What's wrong with you?
Because currently, the only reason there even is a third act here is because Bob magically turns into the Void, mostly because the writers decided so. Meaning that despite the villain's fleshed out basis, she's not strong enough to even make this movie function.
I want a raise.
Okay, fine.
Of course, there is always risk with extremity. When you do it poorly, you end up with caricatures. But when you do it right, you create titans of the screen. And here, that just isn't the case. To so much as hint that these characters becoming the new Avengers is just ridiculous. Which is why most audiences did not care enough to even give them a chance.